Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our training today. Today, we're talking about your post coronavirus launch plan, or I should say, your during coronavirus launch plan, because a lot of this you're going to find out today is all about the things you should be doing now to prepare for the next stage of this for your business and the recovery stage and even the new normal stage that we'll get into. So my goal here is by the end of this training, you're going to know pretty much the steps you should take to get your business set up for success as the country basically goes live again, and understand kind of the phases that we're going to go through as a country and as entrepreneurs, so you are prepared and you can have a lot of success. Look, we've seen it before. When recessions occur, there are people that just take it and run with it and create massive businesses in very short periods of time, and many others fail. There's clear differences between the action that those two groups take. My goal today is by the end of this training, you're going to know the exact action steps you should take to create a launch plan when the country gets back up and running, and be able to execute that to be somebody that thrives with what's going on. Okay, so first of all, I've said this before, that you're going to kind of see that this is going to happen in stages, right? So the country, for the most part, a lot of people think that we're just going to get back to normal, and that's just not going to happen. The reality of what's happening with coronavirus is that we are going to see that the country is going to open this up in stages. We've already seen some of that. So for example, some states are already letting, in Florida, we've already started to open up some of our beaches. Ironically, in New York, they started to open up some of their beaches, their ports, etc. So little things are going to happen. This is going to happen in different stages. But the three stages we care about entrepreneurs are these three. So we're currently in the shutdown stage. Across the country, as of today and filming this April 21st, everything is basically shut down. Some states are very minor steps are being taken to reopen some things. The next stage is we get into this reopening stage and process. And as we've all seen on the news, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like, okay, now we're back to business. They're going to let certain businesses open at certain times. They're going to have different parameters. So California's like, we're going to open restaurants, but there's still a 6-foot rule at the restaurant. So we're going to kind of see this reopening is going to take a matter of many months, and different things are going to open at different times, right? You're not going to see big groups of people like Disney open up first. You're going to see smaller groups open up, and then other activities and places where larger groups are allowed to open up, etc., etc. So there's this reopening stage that's happening where a lot of people are still afraid, they're still reserved, things are starting to get back to a new normal, okay, but it's not necessarily, we're not comfortable. So for example, if you're 80 years old, let's use my parents. If you're in their 70s, like my parents, just because they say, okay, you can now go out and be around people, my parents aren't going to be running to a place where a lot of people are. They're still going to be nervous for quite some time because they're at greater risk. Then we've got that new normal stage. And this is interesting because when I talk to entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs think that we're going to return back to not the case at all. There's a whole new world now that we're a part of. And we're going to talk about this today. All the things that have changed in our world that it is no longer the same. Our world never be the same after this. It will never be the same. People's mentality will never be the same. Business will never. So remember what this is all about. A lot of people forget about this. It's interesting how many people I see that have just completely lost track with what's really going on here. Remember, this shutdown was never about stopping coronavirus ever. It was about slowing the spread so our healthcare system didn't collapse. If you followed this thing from the very beginning, what you've seen was that we know corona's around forever. It's like the flu. Like it may never go away until there's a cure. But what happened was so many people were becoming so infected in such a short period of time that the issue that was created was that we were afraid the whole healthcare system would collapse. All of a sudden, New York has tons and tons of cases. New York doesn't have enough beds. They don't have enough ventilators. People are dying in hallways and in emergency rooms in the streets waiting to get seen. That's the reality, is that the death rate could substantially increase because people aren't able to get in the healthcare system because the healthcare system is full. So never forget that. This thing isn't going away. It was about slowing it down so our healthcare system didn't collapse. So that being said, this is going to continue to spread. I mean, we're not going to get back to life and normal and then everything is good and it just goes away. This is going to continue to spread. We expect it to. We were just trying to slow down the spread so the healthcare system itself didn't didn't collapse. It's projected to see, we could see another increase of cases post-summer. Now, they're saying this isn't like influenza, and I'm not a CDC guy, I'm not a medical guy. This is all about business and how to thrive in business through this. But the reality is we have to talk about some of these things. And one of the things we have to talk about is the fact that they do believe that when we get past summer and we get into cold weather, that we're going to see other increases. We're going to see other big spikes of this around the country. So these are things we could expect. As a matter of fact, I hate to say it, but I've seen several places now where the reports are saying that social distancing could be in effect till 2022. Man, that's crazy. I mean, we're just wrapping up first quarter of 2020, and they're saying 2 years down the road, if a cure is not out there, we could be seeing social distancing for a couple more years. So again, you need to keep all these things in mind because some people still, I don't know why, but they still miraculously think we're just going to get back to a normal. But that normal is not going to really occur because what's going to happen is we're going to see that this is going to take a place over years to come. So there's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself, and one of those is what audience are you going to serve, okay? This is very important because the audience that you had before this happens had more than likely now changed. And you have to think about that. If you're good at developing a customer avatar, and you should develop a customer avatar, who is your customer? Now, if you advertise on places like YouTube or Facebook, it's fairly easy. They give you a lot of those analytics. You could tell what percentage is male and female, what country they come from, what states they come from, what their average age is. But you should get an idea of those things. What's the average age of your client? Is it male? Is it female? What states are they from? What geographic regions or around the world? Whatever it may be. But you need to understand that that audience is going to change, right? Because a lot of people are, like I said with my parents, they're still not going to go out. When we get into this opening stage of the economy, they're still not going to go out to a lot of places that have a lot of people. They're going to go to the grocery store, and my parents are going to go to Home Depot. They're gardeners. They live at Home Depot. But you're not going to see them at festivals where they would usually go, where you're not going to see them at town gatherings where a lot of people are gathered. They're still nervous. They're still scared. They're not going to go out as much. So if you're a restaurant, like we've got a place around here called Christo's. And Christo's, a lot of people eat at Christo's, but a lot of elderly people eat at Christo's too because it's very affordable. So you got to think about it. All of a sudden, if you're Christo's, if you're that local Greek restaurant in our town, well, your audience just changed. You're not going to get all that elderly clientele that you used to once get. It's now going to be different people you're going to have to appeal to. The people that once used your company are not the people that are now using your company. Okay, so these are things to think about. Older buyers, again, are going to buy online more. I've said this for a long time. Once people get used to the simplicity of buying online, a lot of them are not going to go back to retail. It's not going to happen. You're going to see retail, I imagine, take a hit. Now, a lot of people say, look, people are going to run to stores and start spending all kinds of crazy money. Don't think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to continue to buy online now that they figured out how easy it is. A lot of the elderly population that never bought stuff online because it was too complicated, they're now doing that as well for their own sake. So again, if you're a retail shop that catered to certain people that are more high risk, well, all of a sudden those people might not be frequenting your shop. Your audience is now going to change. Don't forget, a lot of people are unemployed. Once we get back and we start going again and the country starts moving, you've still got record high unemployment rates. I mean, I don't know where this thing's going to end, but it could be 5 to 15% total unemployment around the country. So a lot of people that used to buy your products and used to buy your services, they don't have the money to buy your products and services anymore. And if you're catering to certain demographics like, I don't know, employees of restaurants. Let me just give you an example, right? I used to work at a place called Champs when I lived in Ohio and I was in the military. I used to serve tables. Always loved serving tables. So at Champs, there was a huge group as servers. We would all go to this bar, like when we were done working, and like all the people from the other restaurants would go to this bar. And this bar was always packed, and it was always packed full of restaurant workers. Well, you got to think about that as people are now not working in these restaurants, and all of a sudden there's a 6-foot rule. in restaurants where now only half of the tables can be there that once were there, well, then all of a sudden those places, that's business relied on all these people coming in from these restaurants to eat, that's not going to return to normal for them because now a lot of those people are unemployed that used to come in. Business landscapes have changed completely. You got to think about it. All of a sudden now there's a whole new way of doing business. A lot of people have gone online because they had to, and so it changes everything. So those people that maybe used your product or maybe used your service or maybe frequented your retail shop, a lot of those people you might not see back because business landscapes have now completely changed. Okay, your new messaging may not appeal to your old audience, and you're going to have to change your messaging because you don't want to just advertise and market like you always did because things are different now. You have to speak to the difference. I notice this now on TV. I notice it on radio. You notice it on TV. You notice it on radio as well, okay? Because again, the reality of it is that a lot of things have now changed completely. And I hear now on the messages on the radio, it's all about coronavirus. It's all, we're here to help you, and here's how we're going to help you get through it. You can't be the guy on there that's still talking about prices are going to go up, buy now, because who would raise prices during a time like this? So your messaging has to change. So now's a great time to update or create a customer avatar if you haven't already. It's something you really need to consider, okay? And Rob says, but now we do, so why can't we continue living again? We can. We will continue living again, but what I'm saying is that it's a whole new world that we are going to live in. The world that we once lived in no longer exists, and I'll give you many examples of the innovation. And the reason it changes isn't just because of these things, it's because of you and I. It's because we're entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs innovate. And when you hold us down like what's happened over the last couple months, we find all new ways to do things. And that new innovation creates a whole new landscape that we must all navigate as we get ourselves back. So you really want to create a customer avatar. Now, if you're a partner with Credit Suite, you know in your back office we've done training on customer avatar. Okay, we also have a startup accelerator coming out that teaches the same thing of how to actually create a customer avatar. So you want to create an idea of who your customer is. What's their age? Is it male and female? What are their interests? What are their passions? You really need to sit down and revisit this because your customer and who you serve is going to change. And also what's going to change is how will you reach them? Industries have now created their own blue oceans, okay? And there are now many ways these industries are reaching potential customers. So you need to adapt to these changes or be left behind. And I went through these examples last week in our weekly coaching webinar, right? So just some examples include restaurants. All of a sudden, restaurants now are delivering food in a level that they never have before. That's all new. So if you're a restaurant and you're expecting to get back to normal and you come in and all of a sudden you've got all these people that are crushing you because they're doing delivery and you still didn't realize that your demographic changed and you're still trying to expect 70 and 80-year-old people to show up to buy breakfast from you every morning, and now all of a sudden your place is empty in the morning and you don't know what's going on, and the shop next to you, the restaurant next to you is crushing it because they adopted delivery during this time and now they're delivering all of their breakfast food to those same people that you just lost. That's a real example. Okay, I gave the example on my LinkedIn the other day and last week where a cupcake shop, my favorite cupcake shop, turn their delivery van into a mobile cupcake shop on wheels. Like it goes around neighborhoods and sells cupcakes to people. So all of a sudden, if you're the cupcake shop and your shop opens back up and you expect business to be normal, what you didn't realize is while you were sleeping and waiting for this to be over, your competitor from 2 towns over just realized that she can deliver cupcakes on wheels. And now all of a sudden, she's in the neighborhoods that used to come in and buy cupcakes from you, delivering cupcakes to the people directly instead of them coming to you. And you're sitting around going, why hasn't my business increased? Like I don't even know what's going to happen because that person all of a sudden wasn't a competition because they were 2 towns away. Now they're in your town with a mobile cupcake truck. And guess what? Somebody else sees the mobile cupcake truck like me and talks about it to everybody like I am. And then other people are like, well, that's smart. I'm going to start a mobile cupcake truck business. And now all of a sudden you had no competition and now you got 5 mobile cupcake trucks taking cupcakes to people's homes when you're waiting for them to come into you. Okay, doctors that can now see patients online, gyms and martial arts studios that have now found a way to incorporate a digital asset to be able to do what they're doing online as well as offline. All of these things have now permanently changed. So if you're a competitor to these companies, you are screwed if you have not taken action, if you have not accounted for the fact that there's a new blue ocean, there are new ways to reach customers that didn't exist before, that your competition is taking advantage of and you're not. You got real problems. So there are new ways to market. Ad costs, for example, have been cut in half or more. Okay, we are getting a lead now for less than $2 on Facebook. It used to cost us upwards of $4 to $5. So all of a sudden now, there's great ways for you to advertise and market that you probably never even thought of before. Okay, have you ever thought about buying a business? Have you ever thought about buying the assets of a business instead? I mean, think about it. If you serve truckers, then why not go buy a Facebook group full of truckers? Why not buy an email list of somebody that has truckers? Why not buy a podcast that's dedicated to truckers? There's all kinds of new assets and new ways to get in front of new customers. So if your customer hasn't changed or you have a new customer, how do you get in front of those people now? Well, do you know how many businesses are struggling right now that would easily sell you their email list, or would sell you their Facebook group, or would sell you their YouTube channel, or would sell you their Instagram page? Have you ever thought about buying any of those things before? Because you absolutely can. As a matter of fact, you could buy them using the money you make off them to pay. It's called a DDP, a deferred down payment, taught to me by the brilliant Roland Frazier. And if you don't know Roland, he had a great course out called the Epic Challenge. Epic Challenge that teaches you how to buy businesses. Just came out. I don't even know if you can still get into it. But these things can absolutely be purchased as assets. You could even come in and say, look, I'm going to give you a deferred down payment. I'll pay you part of your payment in 30 days, part in 60, part in 90. Then all of a sudden I have an email list. I blast the email list of promotion. I make $100,000 and I just made the money that I need to buy the actual list I just bought. There's a lot of different ways to get to customers that you probably haven't thought of before. But you need to think about these things, because now that the recession is upon us, now that the economy is shifted, now that things have changed, there's going to be a lot of people that have those kind of assets. And think about it. If I could come in and let you email my list, and I could even, I don't know, get a return. Maybe I'm not selling it to you. Maybe you come to me and go, hey man, you need some extra cash? Like, crazy times right now. They're like, yeah, crazy times. How can I get extra cash? I will email your database, and then I'm going to sell my product to help them, and then I'm going to split profits with you. Cost you nothing. I'm just emailing your database. And you know how many people would take you up on that offer right now because they'd like an extra $5, $10, $15, $20,000 just for letting you email their database? I'm going to go to our competitors and ask them the exact same thing, because why not? If you're down and out and you need cash, I'm not even asking you to sell me something. It's a value to you. Rent it to me, for that matter. So again, everything has changed. How you reach customers is never going to be the same. So many of these business examples that have gone online, you now need to compete with, or you now need to realize that you need your own blue oceans of reaching these customers, and you need to consider new ways to market, like acquiring lists, groups, pages, etc. A lot of things that are able to happen. And one of the verses says, hey, Ty, are we still able to get business credit at this time? Yes, we've been talking about that in our weekly coaching webinars. It's absolutely a great time to get business credit and credit cards for you and for customers as well, okay? So that being said, and then Tasha says, nope, where would you even find people selling that stuff? Go directly to them. So first of all, it's a great question. Where do you find these people? I never even thought of this before. Well, you think about it. If I go to YouTube right now and type in business credit, I just found my targets, because they're everybody else other than us that has a YouTube channel on business credit. If I go to Facebook and go into groups and search business credit and I find anybody else there other than me, guess what? They're perfect acquisition targets. So first of all, once you know who your customer avatar is, who you serve, the next thing is think about where those people go. So for example, we serve a lot of startups. Well, what other products and services do startups actually buy? I'll give you an example. They buy corporation setup services. So if I go to a company that's whole business is to set up entities, and they're operating and they're generating cash flow, well, then guess what? It's a great opportunity to come and buy them or buy their list or buy my ability to be able to blast an email to their list to help them. Now, again, you can bring these people in as influencers as well, but beyond buying their assets and buying their company, there's a lot of different ways that you can now get to these customers that you actually have. Now, what messaging are you going to use? You can't speak to them like you did before all this. Like, you can't. It's impossible. You can't go to them and act like nothing happened, because something did happen. And our mindset is permanently shifted for the rest of our lives. So you have to speak to that, right? I mean, people have new fears. Look, I lost my business in the mortgage crisis, and it took me almost to personal bankruptcy. And I was doing a Facebook Live today, and I said, realistically, if I sit with you one-on-one, and I have a real conversation about what that felt like and what it was like, and I tell you honestly about the experiences of them pulling the cash out of my bank account, of me having to borrow money from family to pay the electric bill, of all the embarrassing things, I will literally start to cry. I'm not embarrassed to say I will absolutely cry, because it is still very emotionally deep to me, even though it was 12 years later. So the reality is, I have fears that plague me for the rest of my life about running a business and being knocked out of business because of a recession that had nothing to do with anything I could control. There are so many entrepreneurs now that have that exact same fear. There are people that are afraid to go out. There are people that freak out and start fights because somebody's coughing on or around them. It's a whole new world. We have all these new fears. And even 10 years from now, 20 years from now, anybody that lived through this will still have different fears than they did before this. The income isn't the same. A lot of people's income has completely changed. You can't talk to them the way you always talk to them, because these people, a lot of them don't even have the same money they had before. Their stability isn't the same. They don't have that same stability that they had in their life. Their customers and businesses have changed. We just talked about a bunch of different ways businesses have changed. Those businesses now have customers that have changed. Those people buying now have changed. Okay, the world just is not the same anymore. And you can't speak to them the same as you used to. You have to change your language based on this recovery stage that we're in and into the next stage. Your messaging has to change. And again, if you listen to the radio or listen to TV advertisements, you'll see what I'm saying. Very few are doing ads talking about things like nothing happened. Almost everybody is tying their pitch, their call to action, their marketing message into what's going on right now. You're going to need to do the same thing. So what is your message in recovery? You have to think about that. What is your message as the country starts opening up? What is your message, and how's that going to change? Once things are back to a new normal, what is your messaging going to be then? It can't be the same as it was. So for example, at Credit Suite, we've always said, hey, look, you need to get money before you need it. You need to be prepared for like the unknown. You don't know. So now our new messaging is, were you prepared? Were you prepared? Did you get the SBA loan that you were going to get? Did you come in and have problems getting the financing that you needed? Did you have the credit lines available to tap into when things were bad? Here's a better question. Do you honestly believe that the economy is not going to shift again? Of course you don't. Everybody knows it's cyclical. Everybody knows that the economy goes up and goes down. Now you just lived it. You know it's going to change, and you know it can happen unexpected. Are you prepared? That's our messaging, okay? So again, the messaging has to change because you're speaking to somebody with a different mindset. So what you say to potential customers needs to be modified. It needs to change for you to actually be able to come in and be able to speak to them on their level. Now, Rodney says, hey, Ty, if you're just getting started, want to focus on business credit for your startup, where do you suggest we focus? You and Credit Suite seem to dominate the social space on our webinar. We will talk about that, Rodney. But if I just wanted to get, and you're saying if you're just getting started and want to focus on business credit for new startups, where do you suggest we focus? There's a lot of places. If you want to focus on startups, any business that does business with startups, I would start with initial startup coaching companies, or I would start with entities or companies that help set up new entities. Great question, Rodney. Hopefully that helps. And reach out to our partner success team too. They can help provide a lot of insight. So how much are you going to charge? Your customers have changed. Unemployment may be at an all-time high. Mindsets and priorities have changed. See, I often say that people don't buy not because they can't afford your product or service, but they don't buy because they don't prioritize your product and service as important enough to buy over other things. So this is what happens. Priorities have changed. Is the product and services you sell essential? Are they things? How did you do through this? I've got friends that own coaching services that overnight lost 90% of their clients. Well, how are you going to do business differently if 9 out of 10 of your clients quit the minute things got bad? Do you really have a product that was important enough to them? And how are you going to change now? You got to change actually what you're charging or the products and services that you have available, because their mindsets, their priorities have changed. Many will make no money now because they're on unemployment. Well, many will make more than they made on their jobs because they're unemployed. Others will make less than before. Okay, your product has a different value now. I love my own statement there. Your product has a different value now. It's valued differently now. So let's look at the difference, right? Look at Credit Suite. Does our product have more value now? I think it does. I think the fact that we help people get money so you can get through uncertain times has a lot of value. Our company and product is more valuable now than it was after the fact. Does that mean we could raise prices in due time? We absolutely can. But how many are on the flip side of that coin? Okay, how many services and products now have a different value that's way less because people just don't need them as much as they once needed them? And there's all kinds of examples that we could come up with that relate to this exact point. So your product probably, or your service, doesn't have the same value it had before. What happens now is it's worth different amount in people's head than it was before. You need to evaluate that. If yours went up, meaning if you're like Credit Suite, you've got a product that's really going to be, that should be a hit after this is all over, well then maybe you want to raise your prices. But probably not through a recovery phase because people are still getting adjusted, right? But if your product all of a sudden dropped out and you're selling coaching and 90% of your clients quit, let me tell you what you need to do. You need a lower level coaching program that's more affordable. That's exactly what you need, because people just told you that when the times are tough, they're not willing to pay what you are charging. So you need to reevaluate your products and services now, and you need to make sure that you've got products and services that fit all price points. So at Credit Suite, as you guys know, we offer a do-it-yourself Genesis product that's very affordable. Less than a couple $100 a month is what we retail it for. And as partners, you can buy that wholesale as well. Then on the retail side, our primary product is $3,000 or more, because we don't want to be the cheapest, we want to be the best, and that's what we have to charge to be the best. Full coaching, full system, etc. So again, you need to have products and services across the spectrum for different price points. When we created Credit Suite, we said, look, we need high-level products, but we also need other affordable products for times where with recessions and times where it's tough. Then we can shift and promote our lower affordable products during those times. Now, we didn't need to do that this time around, but we had a plan. We need financing where people don't have to pay any money out of pocket to get it. So when times are tough, they can still come to us to get the money that they need, and we can still make money even if they don't have money to pay for our primary product. We built Credit Suite with an amount of products and services that helped us navigate through tough times. And that happened because I lost my butt in the mortgage crisis. Like, I live in fear now that recessions will happen and wipe me out. So we try to build a company that has products and services across multiple price points, so that way we are prepared for the unexpected. We understand that it's cyclical, the economy. My COO, her father literally is an economist, so we have a little bit of an advantage there as well. So again, we got to prepare with products and services that fit all kinds of buyers and all kinds of economic climates. Now, what new products will you sell then? People have different needs and budgets, right? Okay, they prioritize things differently now. They have new problems that need solved. They're doing business differently now. So again, you now have an opportunity to create new products and new services. What problems do your customers have that they didn't have before? I have no idea, but I'm just going to throw an example out here for Credit Suite. So for Credit Suite, we obviously see that people have had a real problem going through this because they didn't have the right banking relationship set up. Let's be honest. Most people missed out on PPP because they chose the wrong bank. They weren't with the community bank. They weren't with the small bank. They were only with the big bank. They chose the wrong big bank. I'm not sure who won there or not. We'll see how this all thing settles. But the bottom line is that's now going to be a strategy we'll probably permanently adopt. We're not going to sell it as a service, but we'll be telling our clients you should have multiple banking relationships because we've learned lessons from this, right? So what are other new products we sell? We're getting ready to roll out the Startup Accelerator. Don't get me wrong. We didn't create it because of what's going on. The timing just happens. But it's a perfect product because in recessions, people jump in and start businesses at a level way above when there's no recession. If you look historically, when recessions occur, people start new businesses. So it worked well for us. We just happened to create a product that's going to be very affordable. That's a startup accelerator that helps businesses get off the ground. That's a perfect example. If we hadn't already put that in effect, then we would be starting that right now. We'd be saying, look, what do we need to be doing right now? What additional products and services should we have? Well, here's what we've learned. We've learned that we've seen that a lot of people start businesses in recessions, and we're going into a recession. So let's create a product that helps people start and grow businesses, right? So that's an example of how you're able to actually use this to come in and look at problems that people now have. The problem is now more people want to come in and start businesses. So now they have a new problem that we need to solve. Now a new problem is that people weren't able to get money from their bank when they needed to. So now that's a new problem that needs to be solved by creating new banking relationships, right? So think about all the problems that now occur that didn't occur before. Like, for example, 70 and 80-year-olds not really wanting to leave their house as much because they've got that fear. Well, that's a whole other problem, right? I mean, that's a whole new problem. People that aren't really in a computer age and aren't used to navigating computers and the internet the way that younger population is, but now they don't have the same ability. They have a fear that they don't want to leave. That's a new problem that needs to be solved. Do you know how many products and services you could create to help solve that problem? What do they need? How do you get what they need delivered to them that maybe can't be sold on Amazon for et cetera, et cetera? So what new products and services will you sell? Did you do okay through this? Did you grow? Did your sales go up? Then congratulations, you probably had good products and services range. But what if you didn't? Well, if you didn't, then you probably didn't have the right range of services and products to sell. You need to evaluate that, and you now know that you need to make sure that you're creating your products and services where your company is recession proof, even if that means creating new products that solve new problems that your customers or other customers have. Who will you employ? Many employees are laid off or furloughed. With unemployment money being so much, many won't want to come back to work. I've said this from the day after the bill was released. I was interviewed and they said, what other things should we know about? I said, I'll tell you what you should know about. The fact that people are getting an extra $600 a week in unemployment on top of state unemployment is going to mean a lot of workers are not going to want to return to the workforce once this opens. Now, you can test me. We will see in the weeks to come if I'm right or wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. I'm telling you because I know a lot of people right now that say, I'm going on a 4-month vacation. What do you mean? Look, I'm getting paid more money now than I was at my job. I'm not going back to work. I'm staying out of work. My niece is begrudgingly going back to work as a dental assistant because she's sitting here raking in more money not working with unemployment than she's going to get paid to go back to work. How many of those people are not going to want to go back to work because they're making more money on unemployment? They extended unemployment by 13 weeks? You can now basically get unemployment for 9 to 10 months. You can get unemployment. So are you thinking about this? Are your employees going to return back to work? Are they even going to want to? It takes a special kind of person to want to go to work to make less money than you make sitting at home, right? I'm that guy because I love to work. Okay, I'm crazy like that, but there's a lot of people that aren't as crazy like that and don't want to. Things to think about. You may need more workers than before. You may be blown away. You may be busy. You may have a product and service. I just read an article today about a company that manufactures the material that's used in masks, in gowns and all this stuff. And this is what they did. They literally are keeping their workers on site. They got them beds. They got them iPads. They got them food. They stay on site. They have lived there for 28 days. And they rotate in and out. They live at the facility to actually manufacture it. It's brilliant. They said, look, if they go out in the outside world, they can get this virus and bring it in. So we paid them a bunch of money and created a whole atmosphere for them just to live here. They live here now for 28 days. And then they go home for a week and if the thing starts over. So again, if you're like this, if you're slammed, then you may need more workers than before. And this is an awesome time to get top talent. I don't know about before, but it was pretty hard to find really good qualified applicants because so many people already had jobs. Like the unemployment was so small. But right now, if you've ever wanted A players, now is the time to get those A players. It's a time unlike any time before to be able to get A players. But you also may need less team members. The reality, you may need less team members. The whole thing has changed. Even in our world at Credit Suite, a lot of the funding products that existed don't exist like they once did. We're completely changing how our funding department here works and creating an overabundance of customer service on our funding side that we've never had before. So again, some of these changes require more people. Some of these changes require less people. If you got a PPP loan, you can only have that amount forgiven if you keep your employment levels the same. Maybe you laid people off. Now you got to hire them back. Maybe you can't lay people off or you don't want to because you don't want that money to not be forgiven. There's a lot of things to keep in mind, but more than likely, we're not going to get back to this phase where we're getting back to the country going again and everybody return back to the jobs they had before. It's just not going to happen. Okay, any of the numbers of these reasons, people are not going to go back. They're going to come back at a small number. Think about restaurants. California has said we're going to keep a 6-foot rule at restaurants. Restaurants are going to have to be spaced this far apart. Can you imagine that? If you are a restaurant owner, your entire freaking business model is based on you having X amount of tables and rotating those tables at X amount of time to get Y amount of result. Now you are required by the state to have half as many tables as you had before. Overnight, the state has mandated that you drop your revenue by half. That's what happens, right? If you're a restaurant, half your tables are removed, then keeping your revenue the same is going to be pretty tough. More than likely, half of your revenue goes away. So think about that. You don't need as many servers if you have half as many tables. You don't need as many cooks if you have half as many tables. So even when we get back to this new stage, how many people are not going to come back to the employment levels they once had? Because again, all of these type of changes are taking place. So these are things to think about, whether you're hiring new people or whether or not you're trying to bring back the people you already have. A lot of things you have to keep in mind of who you will employ. Will you be financially prepared? Look, this shows that all businesses have to be financially prepared. Are you financially prepared? Okay. So that being said, get revolving credit now, including credit lines. I mean, we've been saying this forever. There's all kinds of people that are ready to invest right now. They want to give you capital. They want to buy your business. There's over $1 trillion that's about ready to get dumped into small business by private equity firms and private equity investors that are looking to come in and buy companies or buy portions of companies. Okay, get credit lines, get business credit, because you only make payments on what you actually use. And when times are tough, you have the access to that money when you actually need that. Okay, it becomes very, very, very important. Okay, and Tashawn says, I get $839 a week. So somebody here is unemployed and says, I get $839 a week. So what is that? That is insane is what that is. That's like $3,300 a month. Like I said, people are making $35,000 to $45,000 a year on unemployment. How many people are going to want to go back to work when that's the case? So very good point there. Very good point that you just made. So again, are you financially prepared? Do you have the money you need to make it through another crisis like this? Were you caught off guard? The average business has 30 to 60 days worth of runway before they run out of money. Well, you just found something that you're completely out of your control that would eat up 60 days worth of runway. So this is where you need to get financially prepared. You need to get a financial investor. You need to get revolving credit cards. You need to get revolving lines of credit. Credit Suite, we're fine. This is what we do. This is what we preach. We literally have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of credit lines. So when our sales dropped as they did the very first month this happened, as it did for a lot of people, when our actual money collected dropped, that's fine. We made the adjustments we needed to make. We had a plan for this. We had a recession plan we immediately executed to make essential cuts to stay within our means and stay within our margin. And while we waited for those cuts to take place, we moved to one of our credit lines that had a zero balance on it it, and we started using that credit line to pull ourselves through. Do you have one credit line or multiple credit lines? I talked to a buddy of mine about a month ago. He said, hey, he goes, I'm cool, man. I got a $40,000 line of credit at Kabbage. I go, no, you don't. It's gone. It's gone. Woof, gone. Kabbage is done. He said, what do you mean? He logged on while we're on the phone. He goes, dude, I can't even log on online. I go, Kabbage is over. I told you that. They shut down all their credit lines. So here's somebody that thought he had one $40,000 line of credit to pull him through. Overnight, it went away, and then he all of a sudden moved into a panic mode because it was the only line of credit you had. So are you financially prepared? How are you going to grow? Okay, what is your new marketing plan? What is your new marketing strategy? Knowing all of these things, what are you going to do? What is your new plan? Now is an excellent time to acquire businesses or assets with zero money down. I mentioned that. I don't know if here it is. Roland Frazier, Epic Challenge. Okay, Epic Challenge, Roland Frazier. He just had a great course that I bought last week, $55. Teaches you how to buy businesses, how to buy Facebook groups and YouTube channels, whole roadmap of everything you need to know. So think about it. You know how much of an opportunity it's going to be right now? I'm telling you, within the next 90 days, I'm looking to buy 2 businesses. I'm not going to tell you yet what the businesses that they are, but as a personal individual, I'm looking to buy a business right now and already making moves to do so. And as a business owner at Credit Suite, I am looking to do our first acquisition at Credit Suite as well. We're going to go buy a company that will help us with the service that we need that we haven't been successful with. Hiring somebody, hiring it out to people. So we're like, heck, you know what? Let's just buy it. Let's just buy a company that provides a service that's already cash flow positive. That makes sense. We discussed it today in our management meeting, and boom, we are off to the races. Okay, and that's only one. In the management meeting, we're like, well, what about these other 3 types of companies that we really need too? Let's go ahead and consider buying those. So we are going to be going on a buying frenzy because you can buy all kinds of businesses right now with little to no money down. Now, a lot of people say, how's that possible? Not mine to teach you that. Roland Frazier taught me. He's the guy that can sell you the course for $55 where I learned as well. And I can tell you that it really comes down to a lot of different ways. He's got 170 different creative ways that you can use and buy an actual business with no money down. Let me give you some examples. Credit Suite. Well, we're not for sale, but let's say that you wanted to come and buy Credit Suite. Well, we have tons of account receivables. We have tons of revenue. We have a lot of assets that could be used as collateral for you to get money to buy it, to give me cash. Now, it doesn't matter to me. That's a bad example because like you could give me whatever in cash. I'm not selling Credit Suite. Okay, but again, the bottom line is that that exists. You have the ability, a lot of assets in a business. Somebody could use their credit to get credit lines they don't know about. Somebody could use account receivables to get money that they don't know about. Somebody could use revenue to get money that they don't know about. You could use the assets of the business to actually get the money to pay that person. You could come in with what I already taught you, which Roland taught me, a DDP. Sounds fancy. A deferred down payment. That sounds fancy too. Think about what that means. A deferred down payment. How brilliant is that? I buy a business, the person says, I want this amount of money down. No problem. We're going to do it as a DDP, a deferred down payment. Here's how it's going to work. Over the next 6 months, 12 months, I'm going to pay you that money, X amount a month starting in 30 days. Okay. You know how many people are like, okay, that sounds good. I literally just took you asking me for a down payment and I deferred it. I mean, think about it. It's an oxymoron. I'm deferring a down payment. But literally, you know how many people will go for that? It makes perfect sense. And I was talking to somebody today that said, why would anybody want to sell a business that's cash flowing, a positive cash flow? Why would they not? Think about it. You know how many entrepreneurs get shiny object syndrome and get bored and want to go do something else? If you could make the same money as an entrepreneur that you're making right now in your business by selling your business, they still pay you the same money you're making now, and you could go do new things. You know how many people would jump on that opportunity? Maybe coronavirus completely drained them mentally and they don't even want to think about running another business right now. Okay, maybe you're ready to retire and this has pushed you over the limit. You're done and you're ready to retire. Maybe all of a sudden you're like, dude, there's cupcake delivery trucks now. I'm out of here. I'm not selling business credit. I can sell cupcakes through delivery trucks. This is awesome. right? And now all of a sudden you're out, you want to go sell cupcakes. You don't want to be in the credit business anymore. There's a million reasons that people want to get out of their business, but in large part, it comes down to the fact that they're bored, they're stressed, they want to retire. And after all of this right now, you're going to have opportunities like never seen before to go in and to actually come in and to acquire businesses, okay? So again, this is a great opportunity to grow your business through acquisitions. It's what the big boys do. You look at every one of the biggest companies out there. Just type in their name and acquisitions. Go to Crunchbase. You'll get entire lists of all the acquisitions that they've made. And they're not just acquiring competition. It's not about that. It's about acquiring products and services that you need to grow. So let's say Credit Suite, for example. We have a marketing division, but maybe we want to buy a digital marketing firm. Why not? Well, why learn to do our own Facebook ads if I could buy a company that's already doing it? Maybe I don't want to do our own SEO. Maybe I want to go buy a company that's doing SEO. Maybe I don't want to do public relations and PR and I want to buy a company doing PR. Maybe all of a sudden there's another competitor that's struggling and I want to buy his list to be able to market to his list. There's a million ways that you could use acquisitions to be able to grow your business. Even if it's not growing by buying a competitor, maybe you're growing somebody else, your audience, your avatar. Some other business has that list. It's their avatar too. And you could go buy them and now all of a sudden like they're cash flowing and they're profitable and you could make money from that every month. And then on top of it, like you could share your customers with them and they could share their customers with you and both businesses grow because you guys are now partners together. Acquisitions is a huge way to be able to grow, but it's not the only thing that should be in your marketing plan, right? What I'm saying is that you need to map out what your marketing plan is. When we went into this recession, we're like, it's go time right now. We had a whole vault of recession content. So on my board right now, for example, I have how to start a business during a recession, right? So I have recession-proof business credit building benefits on my chalkboard, okay? I have avoid pitfalls with naming your business. Don't lose out on funding in a recession. On my chalkboard, I have 4 topics and 3 of them are recession topics, and 3 of those were sitting in our recession vault waiting for a recession to occur. The recession occurred. Our strategy was always the same: mass distribution of content across multiple channels by getting into this vault of content we spent a year and a half building. And that's what we've done. And so far, it's worked very well for us. What's your plan? How are you going to grow through this? What is your new plan? Now, our new plan is all what I'm showing you right now, because that's how I am with our partners. I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do. We are going in mass acquisition mode. We are going to start buying companies that have the products and services we need. We are starting to go and maybe even knock out 1 or 2 competitors on our way and then actually buy them out. We're looking to buy Facebook groups. We're looking to buy YouTube channels. We're looking to buy, we're looking to come in and buy email lists. We're looking to do influencer marketing at a relationship at a level that we never have and get with influencers and teach their audience. We're getting ready to massively expand our affiliate program and tell other people, are you helping people get the money they need for recovery? Help them and get paid. That's just scratching the surface. But you can see that that's our new plan. That's in addition to all the stuff we currently do. So we have a marketing plan that we are already executing to move through this and to take advantage of what's going on. And I don't mean take advantage in a bad way. Look, if you are stressed and done and you're exhausted and you own whatever, a PR company like I mentioned, well then I'm helping relieve the pain from you of not owning the business, and I'm going to help your business grow, and we're going to grow at the same time, right? So again, you've got opportunities like you've never had before, and if you can buy these companies and buy these type of opportunities with no money down, you should be adding that to your marketing plan. Not saying it should be your marketing plan, but saying you need a marketing plan, and these are some things to open your mind of what may actually be in that marketing plan. So what assets do you need ready to launch, right? And this is really my final slide here as we wrap up. So what ads do you have? What videos? What trainings? What PowerPoints? What new content? Your messaging has changed. Your avatar has changed. So many things have changed. So what do you need to deploy that strategy? So I'll give you an example. I told you before we're going to do a lot more with influencers. What we've discovered through this, we started getting on social media a lot more. That was always our plan. What wasn't in our plan was that influencers started to approach us and say, hey, I saw you here. Can you present to our audience? And we said, yeah, we'll teach them. So we taught their audience, and all kinds of buyers came out of that audience. And we said, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, I never saw that before. I never even thought of that. So why don't we go and get in front of all these influencers' audiences? How do we do that? And now all of a sudden that's like, okay, well, let's find these groups where all these influencers have big groups. There's something together about influencers that have these big Facebook groups. So let's develop a strategy, go to Facebook, find the biggest groups out there in the spaces that we want, and then let's go to them and let's start tell them we're investors and tell them we want an opportunity to get in. And let's start a conversation. Maybe we buy their group. Maybe we rent their group. We don't know. There's a lot of options, but let's start conversations. We've already started to deploy that. So our assets, we need a list of people to work. Our list builders are getting that list right now, right? Then we need emails to send to them. We've already prepared the emails and the messaging to go to them. So what new things are you doing? And your marketing plan is going to require new assets, new marketing materials. What have you developed? What are you developing that you're going to execute the minute this goes on? The minute we move into recovery and the country starts opening up, our Facebook ad language change. All those ads are ready to go. They're all sitting there in the vault ready to deploy. We're just waiting for the country to get to the next stage to be able to deploy them. Stay ahead of this. Don't stay behind it. Everything I've said today, I believe all the stuff to be pretty accurate. And the more you are prepared for these imminent changes, the more success you're going to have navigating this crisis. So that being said, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to answer any questions that you have, but this is my go plan for you. It's the same go plan that we're executing, and it's the same go plan that I really feel a lot of businesses should be executing, of getting an idea of your messaging, getting an idea of your customers, reevaluating your products and services, reevaluating your price point, reevaluating the channels and the methods you're going to use to get to your customers, developing an actual strategy for this next phase and the next phase of what's going on. Start changing all of your assets, your PowerPoints, your videos, your ads, starting to have all that stuff ready to go. So when you get to the next stage, you deploy it and you're staying ahead of your competition, and maybe even here, as we talked about, have a reasonable chance to buy your competition as well. So that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. I've got some questions. I want to make sure that I get those answered. Ken says, should I lower prices or increase when we do reopen? It depends on what you sell. You know, as I mentioned, it really depends on what you actually sell. And again, you have to look at how much whatever product and service you sell is really going to be needed in the real world. And a simple example is, like I said, Credit Suite. We help businesses get money to navigate through things like this. So we expect our product to have more value, and then therefore that justifies a price increase. Will we increase our price? No, we're not going to during that readjustment phase, but we will eventually when things settle down. So if you're selling something that's in less demand, consider lowering prices. And if it's more demand, considering raising pricing. But again, one of the best books I've ever read was on pricing, called Confessions of the Pricing Man. And again, my suggestion is you check that out. Confessions of the Pricing Man is the name of the book. Tashawn says, I just started an LLC today. Congratulations with my unemployment and stimulus money. Guys, perfect example of what I just said. People start businesses when you're unemployed. You don't have anything to do. Why not start a business? This is why businesses get started. So I definitely need to figure out what my next step should be. Well, again, Tashawn, congratulations on getting started. And our phone number and email is here. Our phone number is on the bottom here. If you go to info@creditsuite.com and email us, we will make sure you get notified when our course on how our Startup Accelerator gets launched. And the Startup Accelerator is all about how to start a business and grow a business. So you really should get on that. And it's a Startup Accelerator. That being said, if you give us a call or send us an email, we'll talk to you a little more about that. Ivan, what's up, man? Hello, Ty. I have a couple questions. When helping a client who wants one of the federal government loans like EIDL or PPP, can we collect a withholding or processing fee? You can do whatever you want. SBA says that their agents and themselves are not allowed to collect fees. That's what they say. Now, if you're somebody that helps process documents or whatever to help people prepare, You can do whatever you want. But SBA says the people associated with them, SBA, the lenders, and the agents refer to banks, they don't charge upfront fees, but they don't say that anybody that works with SBA loans can't charge a fee. But you need to be careful here, Ivan, because these are really hard to get. And what I'm telling people, even as of today, if you don't have your application in already, your chances of getting money are very slim. So you got to be careful. You're creating a product and service here to help people with something they just realistically may not be able to get. Remember, on that PPP money, the burn rate was $50 billion a day was the burn rate. So just something to keep in mind there. And we talked about that at Charge Points. Okay, so if you have any other questions, reach out to us on that. You know our support team. And Tyshawn says, I started a business loan broker company and would like someone to incorporate the same type of service credit to offer. That's perfect. Yeah, give us a ring. I mean, you remember, this is what we do, guys. We help you offer business credit financing as a service in our partner program. So just give us a ring or send us an email. We'll talk more about that. So I'm going to wrap up Confessions of a Man Who is the Author. Okay, so here is the everybody's off asking about this book. I love this book. It's awesome. And Confessions of the Pricing Man. It's got like this old school black and white. And this guy, I love this dude right here. I don't know who he is, but he's awesome. So this guy right here is Confessions of the Pricing Man. There's the book. I think you have to get the physical book. I don't think it's available online. But man, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I used to just make up my pricing. And I think all of us do. This is a whole book on pricing, discounts, promotions, sales. It's brilliant. And it's old. It's dated. Like, I don't even know what year this thing was because it's got some old school stuff in it. 2000 and what is that? No, that's the number. I'm trying to figure out what year this was. But anyways, this is an old book, guys. But it's really powerful. I love it because it's just brilliant on how to price products and services. So Confessions of the Pricing Man is the name of the book. Would really recommend this. A whole science behind pricing. So hopefully that would help you. And Glenn says, will the accelerator program be available for partners to sell? We believe so, yes, but we test everything first. It's that simple. And to let you guys know, the startup accelerator is going to be super cheap. It's going to be probably less than $400. Good chance it's going to be less than $300. So this isn't going to be something everybody's going to get rich off from. I just think it's a good add-on, and I think we've got a lot of clients that need help with starting and growing a business, and this startup accelerator I think is going to be a big asset. So you're not going to get rich on this thing, and we can roll it out for partners, but a lot of the education part of it is me talking. So it can't be white label. They're going to know who I am, of course, going through it. And the other thing is that we have to test it first just to see. And couldn't find Epic Challenge. You might not be able to. Roland's Epic Challenge might be downed. It was supposed to, I think, go away. Epic Challenge. Oh man, what is up with me not being able to type today? Epic Challenge. And if I go right here, Roland Frazier posts Facebook is the first thing that pops up. If I see this and I go right to this link, it may or may not take me to a point where I could buy this. We'll see if it's available. It might not. He was shutting it down. Okay, so it might not. You'll have to look through some of his posts to even see if the Epic Challenge is available. He only had it up. Here it is. Right here is the link. You can see here. And I don't know if this link is even still up or not, but you just saw how I found it. Right there it is. Boom. So I went to Facebook, I typed in Roland Frazier, Epic Challenge, it brought me to this. I went to see more, it gave me the link right there, and then I'm there. I can't even tell you what this is. GoLegsIntensive.com. That's what it is. GoLegsIntensive.com. You can try that. So hopefully that helps you find that okay. Okay, when for the accelerator? Don't know yet. We're getting ready to release the startup accelerator in the next 2 weeks. My team is going to kill me because today all of a sudden I just started telling everybody about this and I never have even mentioned it to anybody before. We've kept it completely under wraps. And then today I did a Facebook on how to start a business, like during a recession. How can I not mention it? And I mentioned it, and now my entire team is blowing me up with slacks because they're being flooded with people that want to know, and I'm like, we don't even have a release date yet set. So I think we're going to release it in the next 2 weeks. We're going going to test it for at least 30 to 60 days to make sure all the kinks are worked out, more than likely 60. And then sometime in the summer, we could potentially open that up for our partners. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. If anybody else has any questions, just reach out to us and let us know. We are not going away. Okay, I'm a barber. Hey, Ken, that's going to be interesting. A lot of this applies to you, Ken, because again, being a barber, all the stuff I just said completely changes everything. For example, now how many people are probably going to people's houses and offering haircuts at a super premium right now? Ken, just to let you know, my hand is raised. I would do that. I literally cut my own hair because I don't like to go out to get my hair cut at the place. I'm like that. So like if you came to me and said, I'll come to your house and cut your hair for you, like I'd be like, yeah, I'm in on that product. That sounds good to me. So I'm just saying, how much will industries like yours change now that people have been doing things like that? You get back to the barbershop expecting people to come in like they always did, and now all of a sudden people got barbers coming to them, and this whole new world opened up that you didn't even know about. So some things to think about there as well. So I'm going to wrap this up, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If we can help you, get in touch with us and let us know. All of our partners know how to get in touch with your partner success team. You just go into your back office at sweetlogin.com, click contact us. You get their email, their phone number, everything right there, everything you need. Tyshawn says, I need a haircut so bad. I just cut mine. I can cut yours too. I use a 3 on top and a 2 on the side. So if you're cool with a military style haircut, I think I can help you with that. I'm going to wrap up, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks, everybody.